Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Let's kick off a pick 4 on Breeders' Cup Saturday with race number 6. Here's the field for the Dirt Mile. We're going a 2-turn Dirt Mile. $1 million is the purse. And as you see, we have a heavy morning line favorite in the number 5, Life is Good. And before Medina Spirit came onto the scene, Life is Good was the king of the 3-year-olds in Southern California. It looked like he was going to be, perhaps along with Essential Quality, the Derby favorite before he got injured. He was shipped east to Todd Pletcher, and he has really done nothing wrong in 2 starts.
Yeah, I mean, it's those things are all true, Dan. I mean, this is a pretty good 3-year-old crop. Certainly 3 really good ones in the Classic. I still think there's an argument to be made that Life is Good is the best 3-year-old in the country. They're not going to go for the Classic. They're going to go for the Dirt Mile, and he's going to take a ton of beating in here.
Life is Good likes to be up front. So does a horse directly inside of him. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. Life is Good is expected to be among the leaders. Jasper Prince, though, is from Japan, and Jasper Prince may not be the classiest horse in the world, but he is plenty fast. Fast enough to have opened up a clear lead in last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint. If he breaks, he's up front. Does he sap Life is Good's strength?
I mean, I guess it's a fair question to ask. He doesn't seem like the kind of horse who is really supposed to affect a runner of the quality of Life is Good. But I suppose if he does go a really fast pace and Life is Good can't settle, it could open things up here.
And if the pace is fast, I think the most likely beneficiary is the horse who's last on our pace projector right now, the number 1, Silver State. Let's watch Silver State, the Met Mile winner of 2021 in his last start, the Parks Dirt Mile. He was the best horse in this race. He hopped right up at the start. He was last on the backstretch. He's widest on the turn and into the stretch. And you're going to see Ricardo Santana Jr. make the lead right here with Silver State. And it looks like he's on his way to a victory in his final Breeders' Cup prep, and I have no idea what happens right here. Does Santana let up? Does the horse let up? Or is mind control game enough to come back and overcome that adversity? Either way, Silver State snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in the Parks Dirt Mile.
Yeah, I mean, it's a race that he was supposed to win. He had it won. For whatever reason, he didn't seal the deal there, and he cost himself a pretty nice win. It's not the first time he's done that, Dan. I think if you go back and watch that 5th season earlier this year at Oakland, which was also a 2-turn mile, he did the same thing in that race. He made a big wide move. He made a clear lead. It looked like he started idling in the stretch, and the runner-up made a big run to his outside. He had time to recover that time and still win the race. Last time he didn't. So it's a bad habit that he has. He can't afford to do that kind of stuff, but he's really talented. He feels like he's going to fall into a trip in this race, and he's almost good enough to win this race. I mean, I still feel like Life is Good is probably a more talented horse. But if this race sets up the right way for Silver State, he can pull off a mild upset.
Agreed. He has plenty of ability. He was probably the best horse last time out. He's won a prestigious race like the Met Mile. He finished ahead of 2 next out winners in his last start. Ping Chang, also in from Japan. Tough spot. We haven't seen him since June the 26th when he won a race going about 7 furlongs. That was not a good field he beat at all, kind of a negative key race. This is a huge step up in class for a horse that hasn't run since the summer.
Yeah, they're coming here off of a layoff. They're going to stretch him out to a mile for this race as well. It just feels like there's a lot working against him. His class is just really hard to evaluate, Dan. You know these horses a lot better than I do. It sounds like you don't like them, so I don't like them.
Ginobili has really felt handsome in blinkers in his last 2 races. 104 Beyer win, finally getting through his one other than condition. It took him forever to do so. It was just the blinks maybe, and then he scored in the Pat O'Brien going 7/8. Let's watch Ginobili. Got right up close to the pace. Nice ride from Drayden Van Dyke on this day. Broke well, got outside the speed, a horse that had run off for about a quarter mile before the start, and they reloaded him, took over, and he wins very, very easily over some good sprinters. CZ Rocket, Flagstaff. Ginobili is the kind of horse that can tuck in behind the pace, and it looks like he's getting good at the right time, and he loves Del Mar.
Yeah, I agree. 8 Rings was also in that race, who's back in this field, and Ginobili just won that race very easily. I agree with you. He got a great ride in there to get off the inside, but he still ran a really strong race. He was never threatened by some good horses. His win 2 back at the 2-turn mile over this track was really impressive. I know it was just an allowance race, Dan, but he blasted that field. And I think it's just worth remembering that this horse started out with a lot of potential. I mean, it looked like he was going to be good. His 3-year-old debut was a close second to Nadal in the San Vicente with a 90 buyer. He lost his way a little bit after that, but he is figuring it out now, and he's doing it at the right time.
Some class and distance concerns for the 4. Jasper Prince, based in Japan, finished last of 14 in last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint after showing the way. He scored in his prep race in September, going 7/8 of a mile. The 3rd place horse came back to run second in a minor race. The 7th place horse came back to win. I guess it was an okay field. It certainly wasn't at the caliber of what he's going to face on Saturday. And you got to think going a mile, it's going to be tough for him to keep that speed going. I don't know if he's really rateable.
Yeah, I mean, if they're just going to be on a mission here and go to the front, it feels like a tough situation for this horse. That's what they did last year in the Breeders' Cup. It didn't work out. I'd be surprised if it worked out here.
Life is good. Let's watch his victory in the Kelso. His comeback race off the layoff was a gutbuster in the Allen Jerkins, where he threw it down with top sprinter Jackie's Warrior, only to fall a neck shy. Didn't have to exert nearly as much energy in the Kelso. It was a 4-horse field. The second choice in the race went wrong on the backstretch, and Life is Good is on his way to an afternoon stroll in the park.
Yeah, this is just a procession against overmatched horses, but probably the right kind of race for Life is Good off of that Jerkins, where he just threw it all down on the line. I mean, the Jerkins is really the race, and he looked really, really good early on for Baffert before he missed all that time. But the Jerkins, I think, it's the kind of race that just sort of points out how talented this horse actually is. He had everything against him that day, and he got beaten a photo by Jackie's Warrior. He ran a giant race that day. I mean, listen, he's going to be an odds-on favorite here. In a lot of ways, you're supposed to be looking for reasons to bet against him. I'm not sure how many there are, Dan. He looks really good.
The 6 Restrained Vengeance, 20-1 on the morning line, is won at such far-off locales as Zia Park, Sunland, and the Downs at Albuquerque, where he won his 2nd consecutive Downs at Albuquerque handicap, last time out going 1 1/8. He is a really honest, nice horse who's closing in on $1 million in earnings, but it looks like he's just in too tough here.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like the kind of race that he could necessarily win, but it's not like he doesn't deserve the chance to run in a race like this. He's won 10 times, as you mentioned, almost $1 million already. He's about to turn 7. Take a shot.
Snapper Sinclair is the number 7. He's very versatile. He runs well on turf. He runs well on dirt. He is a millionaire already. He runs well sprinting, as we saw last time out in the Eddie D. They ran him a mile in the Godolphin Mile, and I guess he ran okay to be 4th that day, Mike. I'm not sure if that race puts him in the league of a Life is Good or Silver State, but he's a hard knocker. I think he might be slightly better on the turf, but he fits in this race.
Yeah, I think it's hard to, sort of look at this race and make a strong case for him winning it. I think you can make a case for him getting a piece of it, though, at a price. He's a very consistent horse. He's very versatile. The pace projector had him relatively close, but he's the kind of horse who can just come out of there running and get a spot. He doesn't need to be part of the pace. He can either sit off of it or sit a little closer if he has to. There are things to like about him, Dan. I would use him underneath.
8 Rings has not lived up to the potential that he showed when winning the American Pharoah as a 2-year-old in 2019, but he did get back to the winner's circle in his most recent start at Santa Anita. Let's watch that performance. Only a 4-horse field. 8 Rings controls the pace as a prohibitive favorite, and he does not disappoint the betting public. This is a horse that has run well at Del Mar in the past. I think there is a lot of questions concerning class, but he's always been very highly regarded, and maybe he's slowly figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's one way to look at him. It seems like he's maybe starting to take steps forward. He's going to have to take another big one here. I think they just did the right thing last time more than anything else, Dan. They dropped him, put him on the lead. It was a field that he really couldn't lose to. His races 2 and 3 back, I mean, he ran fine, but he never looked like he was going to win either one of those races, and this is probably tougher.
Top pick time for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. We're both going to have to chalk out with Life is Good. I think he sits off of the Japanese Speedball. I think he's going to make the lead at a crucial point midway on the turn, and we'll see if Silver State can come and get him. Same exact of 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's the logical way to look at the race, and I just couldn't really find any real reason to take a big stand against Life is Good, Dan. I feel like he might just be too good for these horses.
5137 for Mike, 5183 for me. It's the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, kicking off a pick 4 at Del Mar on Saturday. Good luck.